What's up guys, I'm back with another Borderlands the pre-sequel video, and today I'm going to be showing you all my level 50 Elemental Athena build. Now, I like to name my build, so I'm going to name this one the Calidity Caster. And in case you don't know what Calidity means, because I didn't until about a month ago, it basically means heat. That's all it means, is heat. And since Athena's Psionic Storm tree focuses on fire and electricity, basically the two hottest elements, I think it fits because you're going to be casting this stuff everywhere. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun. I have a lot of fun using this build. In my opinion, I think it is very good. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be showing you guys it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. First thing I want to say, though, is that basically this is the main tree, and all the skills in this tree basically work off of what you can do in this tree. And I'll explain how in a minute. But first, recommended gear. Now, everything I show you here is not recommended. This is just what I run. I don't know. It's just what I run. A lot of times in builds, I'll just put gear here, and I'll say you could use anything, but people tend to forget that and ask, wouldn't you run this instead of this, or this instead of this? It's like, I just said you could do whatever you want. A build isn't very good if you have to use a specific set of gear, now is it? Kind of ruins your creativity. But anyway, one thing I recommend, and this is like the strong recommendations, a Rosie. The Rosie is so powerful. The Rosie is easily probably the best laser in the game, if not one of the top tier weapons as well. Look at that, 518% continuous bonus damage. That's great. That is good. It is good. And for everything I recommend, there'll be either video links in the description or like just a text description of how to get these, since I don't have guides on all of this yet. But anyway. Yeah, definitely recommend a Rosie, since you can probably only get one element of the Rosie unless you have one of those ways where you get multiple Rosies. Then you probably just want to go with a Fire Rosie and then go and get yourself a max level Vibra Pulse, which you find out how in the description below. In case you don't know how to get a max level one, you can get a max level one, guys. It's really cool. But yeah, it is two lasers in your like slots here, but Athena really makes lasers work. I've always said that her and Athena are the best classes to use lasers for, not Wilhelm, because you know, a 20% damage bonus from one skill to lasers and then a class mod, even putting those together, it doesn't really make up for what Athena can do, and I'll explain why a little bit later. But I kind of recommend those two. If you get like two Rosies, then that's even better. I also recommend the Bulwark, and the Bulwark you can't really get max level outside of like a vendor or something, so you gotta be lucky. But if you can get one, it's really nice because it gives you bonus laser damage to help with the lasers. But if you're not using lasers and you want to run like something like a Hellfire or whatever, Hellfire works really well too, then you don't really need this, do you? You don't really need it. I recommend a Tesla grenade. Stormfront is obviously the best one. It helps you build Maelstrom stacks, and I'll get into what that is in a second as well. But any Tesla grenade really work. It can build them really fast, and the Stormfront builds like 100 stacks with like 1-2 grenades if you throw it at a sizable group of enemies, like a decent group, like 4 enemies or something. 4 or 5. You can get up to like 100 or over stacks just with the grenades. I also recommend this class mod. It's a legendary class mod with no red text. There have been a few people that have said this class mod is kind of garbage. I don't think it's garbage. The skill boosts on it are nice. The elemental effect chance is really good with Athena, and air control and max health aren't bad either. So basically, my strong recommendations. I'm talking my Herkimercer here. My strong recommendations are a Rosie, a Vibra Pulse, a Tesla of any kind, this class mod, and a Bulwark, even though the Bulwark is kind of not as easy to get, although it helps, because bonus laser damage, so awesome. But yeah, that's basically all my recommended gear here. Let's go ahead and get into the skill set right now. Now we're going to start off in Psionic Storm. Basically, you got to put, 1 in Maelstrom and 4 to 4 in Storm Weaving. Maelstrom is like Krieg's Bloodlust stacks, except it goes up and goes down a lot faster, and it goes a lot higher. I don't know if this thing even has a cap. If it does, it's probably like 999 or something, because I think I've seen up to 700 stacks, and I think myself personally I've gotten like 600, like a little over 600 before it starts to die down. It's just there aren't enough enemies in certain areas. There's no like real good mobbing area in the game compared to Borderlands 2, where you could just stack all these up and just go like hog wild. It's kind of sad, because if there was this one area with a ton of enemies, you could really see how powerful Maelstrom is. Either way, you don't really need a big area with a ton of enemies to see how powerful this skill tree can be. And Storm Weaving, basically swap weapons and you get the boost, the 100% elemental effect chance and 30% fire rate. Now some of you may be like, well, if you have this skill that gives you 100% elemental effect chance, why would you want a class mod that gives you 40% elemental effect chance when you don't need 140%? Well, here's the thing. It's for the skills, guys. It's for the skills, basically. Plus, I always forget that skill exists, and I always forget to swap weapons. I mean, I only put points in it because I have to get down the tree. So, odds are a lot of you guys, your playstyle isn't swapping weapons every second to get a bonus. Well, not every second. Every how many seconds? How many seconds? Does it even tell you? Every 9 seconds to get a bonus. I do it sometimes that I forget, and you guys are probably going to forget too. So it's not like the 40% is going to waste at all. You know. But if you do remember, then yes, I could see your argument on why the 40% is useless, but that doesn't mean you should run a better class mod. Well, not a better, but another class mod, because the boosts you get in these skills are very, very, very nice. And this skill would be nice too, but dang it, don't have enough skill points for that. But if we had any more skill points, we could make like the most OPest builds like ever. So it's kind of a good thing, But anyway, I have 9 out of 5 in Gathering Tempest. Basically, buffs your magazine size by 72% and reload speed by 45%. Now, magazine size is nice. Because it takes my 65 magazine size with the Rosie and turns it into 111, guys. That's a considerable bonus. And the thing is, since you have to hold down the beam like continuously to get the full damage bonus, a larger magazine size is nice. Just in case you get hit or your like finger comes off the trigger by accident, then you still have a large magazine size to work off of to still get that continuous damage bonus without reloading. Now, of course, this does give you a reload buff as well. And the reload speed is nice, because let's say you're in Fight for Your Life and you are reloading and you're about to die. The faster you reload, the faster you could kill something, and the faster you get up. How many of you have died because your reload speed wasn't fast enough? I know I'm one of them. It probably happened to us all. But anyway, it's very, very good. I like it better than this skill, because this skill's more defensive. Every enemy you have like a electric status effect on will regen your shields, which is good in theory, but you have an Aspis. When your shields are down, you can pull out the Aspis and wait for it to, and just wait for your shields to regen. So it's not really like too useful, since your action skill kind of like negates its effect. Not negates it, but like it's unneeded is what I'm trying to say. It's unneeded, and I think the reload speed and the magazine size is much better, especially since they have a class mod that buffs it insanely. 72%, guys. 72%. That's a lot. But yeah. So that's it for that. Basically, a lot of defensive skills I left out of this build, because it's more of an offensive build, just to run in there and just smack everything around, with your only defensive skill really being your action skill. But even then, you're using your action skill for like mainly offense anyway, so. Okay, now we have, let's go into Smite first. 1 out of 1. Smite is great when you're airborne and you fire at an enemy. Fire at an enemy. I see an enemy. When you fire at an enemy, it makes this like lightning bolt of fire and electricity rain down on them and just like zaps them. And it's buffed by how many Maelstrom stacks you have. I have hit a badass with this. Like a full health, full shields, badass, one-hitted him with, I think, like 200 stacks, which is really cool. It does a hell of a lot of damage when you just have like 200 stacks. If you have more than that, God, the stuff around it's gonna die. Like the AoE is gonna kill something, even though its AoE isn't like too big. But it's a really good skill. Something I noticed is that Athena doesn't have any useless 1 out of 1 point skills like a lot of characters in Borderlands 2 had. I don't think many of the other characters in this game have useless 1 out of 1 skills. Hopefully not. But what I'm seeing is Athena's skills are good, and they all synergize really well with each other, and you're going to see that here in a second. Here you have Unrelenting, a kill skill. Kill an enemy, get bonus weapon swap speed and fire rate. Now this swap speed helps because the faster you can swap weapons, the faster you get this bonus, and make it seem like you didn't swap weapons at all. So if you do remember to swap weapons, which I always forget, then this is very helpful. If not, the fire rate itself is worth running this, because you get like 0.5% of fire rate per stack. Per stack. Like, that's pretty crazy. Like what? 20 stacks, you have 10% bonus fire rate? That's good. That's more than my badass rank is, I think. Yeah, 5.6%. That's good, guys. That's good. And you get up to like the really high stacks and you're just getting a ton of fire rate. And if you put fire rate on something like the Hellfire or the Viral Marketer or something like that, nothing's gonna survive, especially with the Hellfire. The Hellfire is really good in this build once you get up to like a good amount of fire rate because everything around you will melt. Because the Hellfire with fire rate is nothing you want to mess with. Even like resisted targets won't take it. Plus, fire rate on the Rosie too. The Rosie doesn't care about your resisted targets. You could run up to an armored and shielded enemy. If you have enough Maelstrom stacks, they're not going to care. I mean, well, you're not going to care. They're going to care because their like armor and shield is going to melt against a resisted Rosie, which is crazy. I mean, you already have like pretty much perfect neutral coverage with just the fire and electric element on their own. But since the Rosie is like so powerful, you don't even really need to swap weapons, especially when you put this thing with Maelstrom. That's why I say Athena is way better with lasers than Wilhelm, because he has one skill that boosts it, one class mod that boosts it. Athena has Maelstrom stacks that boosts everything and makes lasers even more powerful, because there's even a skill that buffs elemental damage, and lasers are always elemental unless you get yourself an E-gun. If so, that's its own element. It's not listed, but it is its own element. But yeah, that's a good skill to have. 101, Zeus's Rage is nice. Basically, when you throw your Aspis, you make this storm of fire and lightning come from your Aspis. And this really works well with this end skill over here called Wrath of the Goddess. Because Wrath of the Goddess basically makes it so after it hits one enemy, it can ricochet up to 4 additional enemies. Sometimes it even ricochets off walls if you like throw it right. And it still activates Zeus's Rage, which is really, really cool. Now, every time it ricochets, the damage is reduced by 33%, but I don't think that Zeus's Rage is reduced by 33%, because it's its own separate skill. So you're chaining Zeus's Rage, and you're like buffing elemental damage with, what skill was that buffed elemental damage? There's a skill here that buffed elemental damage. Here it is. It's basically Maelstrom, doy. And since your Maelstrom stacks are boosted, you're boosting the Zeus's Rage damage, which wouldn't be cut down by this. And this skill, coupled with this skill, basically increases the damage dealt when you throw the Aspis. It takes 33% and kind of makes it less than 33% because you're already doing like 63% bonus damage. So it sort of takes 33% and lowers it, even though it's technically still 33%. But you know what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. You're doing more damage additionally, so the damage reduction is less because of this skill. In a way, if you get what I'm saying. Didn't really explain that too well, but if you get what I'm saying, it makes sense. But anyway, let's go back over here. But yeah, that skill works really, really well together. Very, very nice combination. Here we have Overload, basically when an enemy has a like electric or fire dot on them, and you kill them, it will it has a chance, a near 50% chance, almost half, to chain to another enemy. And when that happens, you get 20 bonus Maelstrom stacks. Think about it. If that happens 5 times, you have 100 stacks right off the bat. Speaking of 100 stacks, look at this. This skill, 101, Capstone. Butt slam into an enemy. You make this little like electric tether to them. And as long as they're in your line of sight, it'll continue. So let's say you walk up in front of a bunch of enemies. Like let's say you walk up in front of 5 enemies, butt slam in front of them. Then keep your eyes on them. They all have this tether to them, and it only lasts 3 seconds. And if they die while the tether is up, or they're alive when the tether ends, they explode into an incendiary nova, giving you 20 stacks. That's another 100 stacks for just 5 enemies. You can build stacks very, very, very quickly. And this thing has a 15-second cooldown, which isn't too bad, but the fact that the duration is so small makes it really easy to boost those stacks up and strip your enemy shields. But normally they wouldn't even survive the Nova anyway, so you're good. You're good. And since the Nova's elemental damage, it is boosted by Maelstrom as well. So yeah, you're just doing a ton of elemental damage. So good. So awesome. So powerful. It's crazy. But anyway, we went into that skill already. So let's talk about this one. When your Aspis is up, you can move faster and you gain bonus gun damage. Now, once you have like all your like skills like proc and everything, when you pull out your Aspis, it does not feel like you're doing 36% bonus gun damage. It feels like you're doing a lot more just because you're already doing so much damage anyway which is really, really nice. Like, you pull out the Aspis, it is a considerable amount of bonus damage you are doing. It doesn't feel like 36% when in the math, you know, it is 36%, but it feels like a lot more. Plus, movement speed is always nice. You could back up out of fights, because let's say you're in the middle of a group of enemies. The movement speed will help you back out of a fight faster and get yourself from behind or in front of the enemies. That way, all the damage is going to your Aspis, which is nice because you want to absorb as much damage to your Aspis as possible. Now here's hold the line. Basically, you know, adds 5.5 seconds to your duration, to your Aspis duration. Simple enough. Here's a 1 out of 1. Basically, your Aspis now absorbs elemental damage types. You get all 4 rolling up in there, and it looks really cool. It's like a spiral of like elemental rainbow in your Aspis when they're all procced. Then you throw it at them, and no enemy's gonna resist that because it's doing every element, and doing a lot of damage at that. Great skill to have. Now here's clear. This basically gives 2 bonuses to co-op players, gives 1 to solo players. When you throw the Aspis, the explosion will revive your teammates if they are around you or around the explosion. And since you're chaining it, since you can chain it and make the explosions go everywhere, you can basically revive your whole team just like that. In my opinion, it's better than Res. Not as necessarily reliable as Res, but in the right situation, it is much better than Res. Plus, you get a 40% damage bonus when you fight for your life. So, if you're a solo player, this 1 point is so good because you want to get up as fast as possible, because if you're playing alone, you don't have anybody to revive you, so you need to kill an enemy quickly. 40% damage bonus is insane. So you're going to get up really fast, which is really nice. These are all defensive skills. I just, this one's sort of offensive. It reflects bullets, but I thought that for the sake of like offense, this is better because when you activate your Aspis, it taunts the enemy, so they go to attack you, and they can't hurt you as long as they're all in front of you because you're holding up your Aspis. So they're doing damage to you, storing all the damage into your Aspis while you're gaining stacks of Prepare for Glory. Now, for every enemy that's attacking you, for every 1 enemy that's doing damage to you, you gain a stack of Prepare for Glory, which can give you 10% bonus damage per stack. So if you somehow have like 10 enemies attacking you, you are getting a 100% damage bonus. Even if there's only 50%, that's still a lot. And once the Aspis goes away, the stacks stay for a little bit. Don't know how long, it doesn't say, but still stays for a little bit after you throw your Aspis out, which is nice. But that's basically the skill set. I went over these 2 already. It'd be nice to get like this skill or this skill into the build, but then you have to sacrifice one of the capstones, and really you don't want to do that. I guess you could sacrifice these 2, but you really don't want to do that, because even then you don't get down to these 2. I mean, you get 1 point at these 2. I mean, you get 1 point of that, but really, whatever. Anyway, but that's the build. That's the Calidity Caster. You want to go out there and cast Calidity, go ahead and put this spec on. Again, how to get the recommended gear. Not all the gear here, but the recommended gear will be in the description below, either in video form or in like text form if I don't have a guide for it up by then. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So I want to thank y'all for watching, but there's going to be gameplay after I get done talking here, showing off the build to you. If I get good gameplay of this. If I get good gameplay. I cannot talk today. Anyway, if I get good gameplay, it's going to be going up after this video, and there'll probably be music over it, not me commentating. So one thing, because I get this on every build video I do, when it has music, and it always has music, somebody in the comments or a few people will be like, this music sucks, this is crap, this hurt my ears, mute it, blah, blah, blah. Take off the music. Guys, it's simple. Don't make yourself look like a prick or a dick. Don't be that guy. Nobody likes that guy. It's simple. All you could do is mute the audio. YouTube gives you this crazy little option to adjust your audio and even mute it. It's good. It's really good. You should try it. If you don't like the music, go ahead and mute it. Open up another tab. Play your own music. Everybody wins. You don't have to look like a dick. It's great. So can you do that for me, Kay? Kay. Alright, guys. So hope you enjoy the gameplay. And I want to thank y'all for watching. I very much appreciate it. And I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.